everybody. Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Tiff and Carl. I'm Carl Raven,
And I am Tiffany Salcido.
and we hope you are having a wonderful beginning of fall, even though, we are on the surface of the sun up here in Northern California. But Tiff and I are actually some traveling folks this week. We're actually headed out to different climates in a little bit. Where are you headed, Tiff?
I'm headed to the Bay Area. I am headed up to Marin.
Wow, it's going to be 100 degrees in Marin this week. Yeah.
That's always my luck. Every time I'm like, oh, I get to go to the Bay Area, I'm going to get a little respite from the heat. Mother Nature's like, hold my beer. I got
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I
Where are
love
you headed?
Marin. I am actually headed to the OC. So I'm headed to I'm flying down and actually I'm flying into San Diego. For some reason my the people who booked my travel, they couldn't get a flight into John Wayne Airport, which is literally a mile from the training site. So
Mhm.
I told him, I said, well, I mean, I know San Diego. And then afterwards, I thought, well, I also know Long Beach, but I didn't mention that. So then already they booked me to San Diego. So that's all right. I get to fly into San Diego and get a Hodads for my birthday. So,
Oh, happy birthday. And I
yeah,
love
thank you. Thank
Hodads.
you.
Do you do the
Yes,
one in Ocean
yes.
Beach? You do the one in
No, no, I
Ocean
go to
Beach?
the one downtown. The one in Ocean Beach is ridiculous. There's too many people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the one downtown, I can order and pick it up. And, as long as I get a junior, I won't fall asleep on the road. So,
Yeah, Hodads is not for the faint at heart for sure.
yeah, yeah. So I'll be there. I'll actually be in Santa Ana until Thursday and doing some work for the state. So excited, and
Oh,
it'll be
well,
fun.
Santa Ana, it's literally like right down the street from me. It's funny. I'm going away and you're coming to my hood. So
Right. And you're coming to my hood. So yeah,
exactly. How funny.
yeah. So I was, thinking, we should hit up some of these ideas, some of these places that we go. So, just like with Marin County, what's your favorite thing about Marin County? What do you like to do outside of?
So one of the things I like about Marin County is its proximity to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
And you can't ask me for names of any of this stuff because I don't know what any of it's called. I'm not a detail person like that. But if you're on the north side of the Golden Gate Bridge, there's like a hill that you can drive up to, and you just drive up this little windy road, and then you have like this beautiful, gorgeous
Full
view
house
of the
view.
whole
Yeah.
bay. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So I love that little drive and just being up there. And in Mill Valley, which is in Marin, there is a natural food store, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's right off the freeway. I know how to get there. Um, I love that little store because they have like their own bakery. They have like a great little wine area, but they also have these Italian sodas, like these real from Italy Italian sodas that I had in Italy, and I hadn't seen them outside of Italy. And so I every time I go there, I go and grab one because they're the best.
Wow.
Um, and so I love browsing grocery stores. I don't know if that makes me a weirdo, but that's actually one of my favorite. Like I get super excited to go to like different towns' grocery stores and browse grocery
Those are
store
fun.
aisles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are fun. And you'd be surprised. And sometimes you're surprised by, how cool the grocery stores are in some of
Mhm.
those towns. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I love that view. I call it the Full House view, right? And
Yes.
that's at the beginning of the Full House TV show. And I always take my friends who are coming into the city for the first time and take them up there so they can take their picture and be good. So yeah,
Yeah. It's
but
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
also
a
like Sausalito. Sausalito is the other thing I like about Marin County. I love
I was
Sausalito.
about to say that. I was about to say Sausalito. That's it's one of my favorite places. That used notoriously used to be my first date spot. So,
I could see that. I could see that.
yeah.
Easy. What about you, Santa Ana? Are you familiar? Like, do you ever hang out in the OC, or what's your spot down there?
Oh, well, when I go, I haven't been in a while, but I went to there was a restaurant. I think it was in the Embassy Suites that was there that I really, really liked. And it was a cool place to hang out after, after training. Um, but yeah, I dig Orange County. I like going to Newport and hanging out. My favorite thing to do, especially when my daughter was younger or with my wife, is to go to Newport and go over to the carnival there and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
That's always fun. And I'm supposed to meet my dad. My dad might be there today or tomorrow. I don't. I'll let him figure that out, and then we might go down to Huntington and hang out in the Wedge and have a drink or something like that. So that would be cool.
My
But my
favorite
favorite,
day, oh, go,
yeah,
I was gonna say, my
I would say,
favorite day to go to Huntington is Tuesdays because they have a farmer's market on Main Street on Tuesdays. And I don't know if you ever go to Hurricanes. It's on the second floor in Huntington Beach on Main Street, right on top of BJ's Brew House. So there's like a stairway
okay,
on the side to go up to
yeah,
Hurricanes. Better food. You get to sit at the top and watch. If you like people watching, you get to see all the people walking up and down Main Street, and you can see the ocean from the top, and you can sit outside. And
okay,
uh hurricanes on
yeah.
Main Street, and again Tuesday nights is the night to go.
I'm sure I'll remember that because BJ's is just like my dad and I's go to wherever we are. We find a BJ's, so that'll definitely be on my mind for
Yeah,
sure.
I'll find the BJ's and go upstairs. It's right on the outside. I'm telling you, there's like an entrance on the side, and that's where all the locals hang out in Huntington Beach. But it's super cool vibes. Again,
Yeah.
it's like a little dive bar restaurant, but their food is really good too.
Okay, I might have to do that. And then, yeah, but my favorite beach is in Orange County too, Seal Beach. I love Seal Beach.
Seal
And
Beach is cool.
yeah, I used to go to the volleyball. They used to pro volleyball there on the beaches, and that would
Hmm.
always be every year I would go to that one. That was so much fun. It's not far from Long Beach and
Not at
you
all.
know, on Highway 1. But yeah, so hurricanes, I'm gonna have to check that out. And I just remember I have to teach the next day, so I have to, keep it
Well,
adult. So
yeah, hurricane with discretion there. I'll just say they do serve some of their mixed drinks in 32-ounce glasses. I'm just saying. I heard from a friend. I've never partaken in 32 ounces at one time of any kind of alcoholic beverage. Not me, but I've heard of
yeah.
people who might have had a 32-ounce Mai Tai at Hurricanes. It's pretty
Okay,
good.
32 ounce Mai Tai. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll leave that one to my dad. So yeah.
Your dad doesn't
Okay.
have to work the next day, so you let him live
No.
his best life.
Well, if I didn't have to work the next day, I would go to Big Helen's. So that
I
was,
love Big. Don't get me. I we talked about this last time. I get so excited with Big Helens. I love Big Helens. That's another
yeah,
great place in Orange County. That's right between Orange County and San Diego, though.
yeah, that's all right. Well, I have to drive back down Thursday night when I'm done and catch the last flight from San Diego to Sac. So that'll, that it'll be a little bit like the Cannonball Run at the end of the day, but I'll
It
definitely
always
get
is.
going.
That's the
Yeah.
worst.
That's right. There's always momentum when you're ready to get home, so
Mhm.
yeah.
So speaking of travel, I have my question for you this week, and it's about how do you travel? How do you vacation? That's probably the better question. So the reason I'm asking is I have come to discover that I don't always vacation the same as people. So I have to be really like conscientious of who I take trips with because not everybody vacations the same way. And
Yeah.
so are you more of a vacationer, like let's relax, let's chill, check out a couple touristy spots, have some good dinners? Or are you like, let's get 30,000 steps and explore and go down this dark alley that nobody's talking about? How do you vacation?
Yeah, if I have to take a vacation from vacation, then it's not worth it for me. I like to be able to take our time. There are some things, I mean, if you're going somewhere, obviously you're going somewhere for a reason, right? And so, if you are going just to the beach, just to relax or hang out, that's cool. If you're going, like last year, my my friend group, I have a friend group, they always plan their vacations every year. And so last year it was in Solvang, which is there on the coast in Central California. And it is a Danish town. It was right outside of San Ynez where the Shumash reservation is. And I guess a bunch of Danish immigrants came there in the early 20th century and really recreated a little Danish town. And it's it's cool, it's fun, and it's fun to sightsee, and so, but it's about a day's worth of sightseeing, and then the rest of it is just relaxing. So it's not really even I have friends who have plans and they like to plan things out and itineraries. And I mean, like I said, a loose plan, a loose itinerary is cool with me. But if I'm having like you mentioned the other day, if I'm having fun, at the pool or at the beach, or we found a cool little brew pub or something, or there's music going on and we have to get on a bus to go somewhere, that kind
No
of
thanks.
yeah, that kind of takes the bloom off the rose a little bit. I just
Yeah.
I'm on vacation just because I mean it's great to have people who have plans, but I mean I have plans when I'm not on vacation. So it's so that's what I would prefer. I mean I vacation with folks who you know they they do have. I mean when we go camping, we planned what time we need to get to the lake or whatever to get our patio boat and whatnot, and then we just really chill. But I mean if we're on a tight schedule, that's not vacation for me. That's just extended work period, and I want to be paid for it.
Yeah. I I'm 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 a traveler. That's why I like to say I'm not a vacationer, I'm a traveler.
Yeah.
And I like to go places, but I don't like itineraries for sure. But I'm definitely one that's an explorer. So
Mhm.
I want to like hit the ground and just like walk around and find stuff. I'm a like landmarks, for example, I like to go to New York City. One of my favorite places, and I like to stay in different boroughs every time I go and have a different experience. Um, but I'll have like a couple of places. I usually like my destinations are restaurants or types of food. Like, oh, I've heard this is the best pizza. Let me go try it out, whatever. So I'll have like a destination, but then we'll go explore like that whole neighborhood. That's like the kind of travel we very rarely sleep in. It's kind of like wake up, get ready, let's hit the road. So like I don't know, I have a hard time traveling when people just want to hang out at the Airbnb or they just want to hang out at the hotel. Like I didn't come to see the hotel. I This is just a place where I sleep and I want to go run these streets wherever I'm at like the whole time. We have friends that like go on a cruise with us. My mom, let's go on a cruise. My sister, let's go on a cruise. I'm not interested in a cruise like at all. Like
You're
I think the
captive.
more yeah, the more people ask me to go on the cruise, the more my brain is like, absolutely freaking not. We're not going on a damn cruise. I'm not going on a cruise. Oh, but you get to go to cool places. You know where else goes cool places? Planes, way faster. And then I can get there and I can go explore. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you get to go into ports for what, like 5 hours and get to see what's at the port? Like that doesn't sound like a good time to me. I don't know. I'm getting very passionate. I'm anti-cruise, but like, oh, there's so much stuff to do on the ship. I don't want to be on a vacation on a ship. Like that doesn't sound exciting to me at all. I'm all pissed off now just thinking about going on a cruise. For people who love cruises, rock on. Love your cruise. I just don't try I don't want to spend my time, like my vacation time, getting to know a ship. That's like my whole thing. I don't want I'm sure there's lots to do and I hear the food's great and there's entertainment and I don't go to places for the to have the same food and to see the entertainment. I like to go and explore. I don't know. That's
A, a cruise is kind of like Vegas to me, right? I
I
mean,
don't like Vegas at all.
there's
I
only
hate
so much
Vegas.
you can do. After you've been to Vegas enough times, there's only so much things you can do in Vegas without, coming home broke, right? So, but one cruise I do want to do, I want to do that Viking River cruise, like in
That
Europe.
seems cool. Yeah,
Because
I
I
would
mean,
do that cruise.
you would go, you're on a river, so I mean, you see land and you see like
Right.
structures and stuff. That would be fun. I would sit on the deck all day, or if I got a room with a view, I'd be out on the balcony just chilling, watching the civilization go by. That would be cool. And then docking and then going into some of the towns. That would be amazing. Um,
I agree with you. That is one cruise I would potentially consider. My mom also wants to take a cruise to Alaska.
yeah.
And I'm considering doing that with my mom because she's my mom. And I feel like that would be her life dream and I'd like to experience that with her. But other than that, please stop inviting me on cruises, everybody else. I'm not going. It just makes me
My,
mad.
so my aunt and uncle are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary next year, and they want to go on a Alaskan cruise, and so we're thinking about that. It's just so that might, like you said, that might be fun.
Yeah,
Cool. All right, so I have a question for you. Excuse
gotcha.
me. So if you were in the midst of a zombie apocalypse and it was you and three other people, who would be those three other people to help you survive the zombie apocalypse?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you two answers here.
Mhm.
The first thing is, no, my first answer is I'm not trying to survive a zombie apocalypse. So when the zombie apocalypse starts, I'm giving myself as tribute. Like I can't imagine, like I'm being 100% honest. I cannot imagine like fighting for my life every single day and having to like always be moving, always be scrounging for food, not having toothpaste and toilet paper and a hot shower every day. It's not the kind of life I want to live. So as soon as the zombies come, I'm gonna be like the three people I'd have with me. That's a hard three because I have three kids and a husband. So oh man, because I want my kids and my man, but if I ooh, see.
Other than family, how about other
Okay,
than
other
family?
than family. Okay. I still need to have my spouse with me. I'm still keeping him because someone's got to drive and it's not going to be me. So I need him to drive. And he's handy, right? So I'm going to go with him. Um who else would I have? That's such a good question. That you know what? I can't even answer it because I'm literally going to give myself as tribute to save their lives. I'm going to throw myself into the zombie horde and say, "You all get away. It was nice knowing you. They're going to be busy with me for a while, but get a head start." So I don't think I wouldn't live through the zombie apocalypse at all. I don't want to. I think about that a lot. My mom is like so ready for it. And she's like, "Oh, I got that, mom. You rock on, mom. Live in my memory. I'm not doing it." Sorry. Probably not the answer you wanted, but I'm not living through it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm done. What about you? Who would you take with you?
So if I had three people, first I'd have to have someone who would be handy, handy with the steel. You know what I mean?
I was
Right.
thinking
Earn
that.
your keep. Right. I need a regulator. So a Navy SEAL, something,
Yeah.
somebody who was, that their job was to, stay frosty, right? And but then I'd also have to have somebody who could keep it light, keep it fun, right? You know, um, a comedian of some sort, not a loud one. Like my favorite comedian is he's rest in peace, Robin Harris, because and he was just funny and he was loud. But when you're loud, you attract zombies, right? And I mean, you can outrun a zombie horde. I mean, according to The Walking Dead,
Hmm.
but so it'd probably be a I can't really think of a. I have I have some comedians I could have in my mind, but then and also I'd have to have somebody who I could who would entertain us, right? So and also I could sing harmonies with. So I don't know, maybe like a Mary J. Blige. She sings like a survivor. She's
Hmm.
realistic, right? She's down to earth and she can hit those harmonies. We could have a lot of fun, in our whisper, right?
Yeah.
So a Navy SEAL, a quiet, dry, sarcastic comedian, and Mary J. Blige.
Okay. All right. Well, just, I'll be resting in peace. So when you see me coming towards you, just know it was a sacrifice that I made to save my people.
We appreciate that. We appreciate
Yeah.
it greatly.
I would make it past season one. I'm just letting you know. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
on season 8 of The Walking Dead. I would have been season one, third episode. I could make it. It wouldn't be me. Not doing it. I even watch those shows and they give me anxiety. Like you're not even fighting zombies most of the time. Now you're fighting like people. Like there's no
Yeah.
happiness. There's no joy. That's just not a life I want. No, thank you.
Well, that's the point of The Walking Dead, right? I mean,
Right,
the people are the Walking Dead, right? Not the
right,
zombies, right? And
right.
so it's not, the zombies are the, I don't
They're a
want to say
prop.
the, yeah, they're a prop, right?
That's right.
It's how people turn on each other. Because I used to think, oh, I just get on a boat and sail, and then I watched that show, Fear of the
Fear the
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
There's pirates on. I'm like, what assholes? I mean, can't we just survive? No, no. Some people, you can't just survive. Some people have to get over. And
Yeah.
so, okay,
I've
fine.
had a good
Anyway,
run. I'm just saying. I've peaked in life already. There's not much, beyond this, but it's sustaining, sustaining. So I'd be the first to go. Count me in. I got you. I will
okay.
martyr myself for the rest of you all. I got you.
I just want to be safe.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to Costco. I'm going to run to Costco and I'm going to live in Costco as long as I can live in Costco. And then after that, I'll give myself this tribute.
Yeah. I used to say that too, because they have the big rolling doors, right?
Mhm.
So that could be safe for a while. So, yeah. But
Yeah.
speaking of safety, right? The thought today is thinking about the idea of psychological safety,
Mhm.
right? And psychological safety, it's something that we talk about a lot, when we think about what it is we do, right? And who we interact with, right? And especially at work, right? And so, just when you think of the idea of psychological safety, what comes to your mind, Tiff?
Psychological safety for me, when I think about it, is that I can come to work and do my job without being like on guard.
Mhm.
Like I can do my job where I can be creative and I can be open-minded. I can be able to try new things. I can reach out to people and talk to them and, learn from their perspectives where I don't feel like I'm in competition or I have to be fake or phony or uh, watch my back or be careful about what I say, like where I can just show up as my whole authentic self, flaws and all, and do my job to the best of my ability and feel good about it. That's for me psychological safety. And other people are able to do the same, right?
Yeah,
Because I don't want to feel good and everybody else is walking on eggshells. I want everybody else to feel the same, that they can do the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
What about
That's
you?
yeah. I agree, and it's I think it's important to be yourself, right? But then also part of being yourself is being conscientious of being part of a social fabric, right? So, I mean, we all, that's probably another question for another time. We all have those friends and family members that, are part of the social fabric where we're just like, okay, we're just going to, we're going to visit, just be careful if, especially if somebody you're meeting. So, okay, so you're going to meet this person, just know he's a little wild, right? Or, you know,
That's
and
usually how people describe me. We're going to introduce you to Tiffany. Just go with it.
true. I always, you're gonna love her, right? But it's to be able to be yourself, sure. Also to recognize that other people have the right to be respected as well, to be respectful, and but then also that it's to be able to speak your mind, to say what you need to say, when things are coming up, if some, if you have concerns or if something's not going right, that you can speak your mind without fear of retribution, right? And
Mhm.
um, to feel like you're in a place that you are supported and cared for, right? To belong to something,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's definitely important to helping people, to feel good about what they do. I mean, Harvard Business Review says, if you have one person at the job that you can talk to, just let your hair down if you have any, right? And just be yourself and and you can vent to them and they can listen to you with that non-judgmental, empathetic support, you'll end up staying at the job longer and you'll be more productive, right? I mean, that's how important that is to to our idea of, being in a place where we feel like we belong. Just to have one person, let alone an environment, a culture, right? But it can get toxic as well. You can have a whole bunch of people that get along and they produce more because they can't stand their boss, right? Or,
Mhm.
they they get along and one person doesn't. And so maybe they're kind of xed out of participating, or let alone bullied or picked on. I mean, we're adults. I hope that doesn't happen, but I know it does, right? But
Yeah.
just having that feeling that I can come to work and I know I'm in the right place to be able to interact with people in a way where I don't fear anything,
Mhm.
right? So that's definitely an important piece for me, right?
I even think it goes like beyond fear. It's really about, again, like, for lack of a
Thriving,
better word, like the safety of it. Like
yeah,
when I'm, for example, if I'm in my home, I'm in the comfort of my home. I know where stuff is. I know, like, I can walk up the stairs without thinking about it. I know exactly how many stairs, without holding on to the railing or whatever the case may be. I with pretty good certainty, I feel very comfortable in my home because it's familiar. I know what to expect. I know the sounds, I know the smells. And when the sounds or the smells are off, then I know, oh, I'm triggered, like something's off. Let me go. Where's the dog at? Why isn't the dog barking? Like, I know something is amiss because it's a comfortable place. And I think in the workplace, when there's not psychological safety, where you can be just, again, in the flow doing your work, what's going on, how things move. When you're constantly like, what is that supposed to mean? Or why are they talking like that? Or what's that tone? Or what, this email feels weird. Like that constant, like being on edge, you can't produce good stuff. I'm just saying, you can't do your best work if you're constantly like, what is this supposed to mean? You know, they when we had that talk at the meeting yesterday, it was a completely different discussion. What the heck is this email about? Like that in itself is like that lack of safety. I think that distracts people, and why we don't get the best out of people, because number one, I hate to say it, too many workplaces, too many leaderships don't create any safety for people. It's
yeah.
it's like, let's create stress and overwhelm. And then why aren't people performing? Nobody wants to work anymore. um, and really it's because I'm in fight or flight. I'm fighting for my life every day because you're unpredictable, or you don't treat me with respect, or you micromanage every part of my day, or you pit me against the person sitting next to me and make it competitive, or you tell me take initiative and then shoot me down every time I try something new. Like that to me is, again, the norm. And then people are wondering why we're job shopping all the time or looking for something better. It's not the work. I guarantee you it's not the work. It's the environment. It's the can I come to work and focus on my job or not? And too often the answer is not.
And so just thinking about that idea, I mean, we focus on when it doesn't feel safe. You would just your think of your a job where you felt that idea of psychological safety, where you felt you can walk in and truly know you were in the right place, you were part of something, bigger than yourself, that you felt comfortable in your skin and that you could do do good things and great things. I mean, what was that? And what did they do? What were the behaviors?
So when I had that feeling, there were a couple of people that were leading. And when I started with this organization, it was like immediately you're part of the team. So immediately, like, welcome, we're so happy to have you. Um, we see so much potential in you. Here are some opportunities. Let's get you like ground running. What do you need? What support do you need? Here's some things that I have found helpful. It was just like from the beginning, like I felt like I mattered there, right? It wasn't like, oh, you're brand new. Let's get you up to speed. It was like, no, you have an expertise that we want to tap into. We want you to fit in here. So here's some support and some help. Tell me what you need. I'm here for you, checking in. How are things going? What's working for you? What's not working for you? What support do you need? Um, and really just for me, because I really value autonomy and being kind of on my own, it was like, I'm going to let you fly, but we're here if you need me or if you need us, whatever that looks like. We're here. We have so much support. So when you need support, let me know. And I felt comfortable doing that. It wasn't like oh man, if I ask for help, they're going to think less of me. I felt really safe and saying, I'm really struggling here. What ideas do you have? And they would give me great ideas and then let me run with it. It wasn't like, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. It's like, here's some resources. Here are some things that have helped me in the past. Um, uh, what questions do you want to ask? Or do you want me to set some time so we can do this one-on-one? Or what are you comfortable with? And that for me is when I felt the best because number one, there was a lot of moving parts and everybody talked to each other and not like in weird conflict. This is uncomfortable. This has been brought to my attention type of passive aggressive bullshit that like gets under my skin. It was really like, hey, this is happening. What are you thinking? Here's what we need to do. What do you want to do? Like, how do we fix this? It was no blame, no like looking down. It was just everybody knew their job. Everybody did their job. They talked to each other about, like, again, the big picture. I loved it. I loved it. And then one of the leaders left, which broke my heart. I'm still holding a grudge. And then the next leader left. And then I was really sad. And it has not been the same. It hasn't been the same since. Because now, for me, my experience, the psychological safety is gone. There's no communication. It's people are everybody's doing their own job, but nobody's really talking to each other. And if they do talk to each other, it's either like uh survival of the fittest. It's like Hunger Games, and a lot of competitiveness and backstabbing and behind the scenes conversations and ugh,
Yeah.
Oscar. I don't like it.
Yeah. When you're worried, when you're worried about just basic decisions,
Yeah. And
that,
not being included in the decisions that have a direct impact on, my whole life.
yeah, yeah,
Very
I hear
unsafe.
you. I hear you. Yeah, I would say my favorite, excuse me, um, an environment where I felt really safe. Like, like you mentioned, when I came in, people just took me in, right? And, I wasn't, oh, we need to get you up to speed. This is how we do things, but, we trust that you're going to be good at it. And I was supported. I could always, our team, when I walked through the door, I knew that even if we didn't necessarily all agree, and that's the thing. I mean, psychological safety doesn't mean that everyone is has the same beliefs and the same morals or the same
Mm-hmm.
political, or same religious beliefs or anything else like that. It's just you have group of folks led by somebody who, really allows you to just express yourself in the way that you want to express yourself. And when you walk in, you feel it, right? I knew my cubicle was there. I knew I was supported. I knew I felt good about what I was doing, how I was doing it, the people I was doing it with. If there was something that I thought maybe could be improved, I could go to my boss and say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we're seeing this. What do you think? Is there any way we can do this? Is there some reason why we can't do this? Right. Um, and so, and if something came up, it was always a conversation. It was never a scolding. I mean, we were treated like adults, and it was, I there was sometimes where, I would have to do home visits, and it was in the afternoon. And the expectation was, if it's home visits that are, that are close to your house, you don't have to drive back to half an hour to the office for 20 minutes. I mean, if you go home, that's fine. Just, you know, work that 20 minutes the next day, or, things like that. Or just, hey boss, I want to coach a baseball team. I want to have practice at 4 o'clock. Is it okay if I leave at 3:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays and just work that extra hour, or half an hour Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. As long as you're getting your stuff done and you're getting your stuff done, then that's great, right? Expectations were clear from the get-go, and we were supported, not just by our direct supervisor, but her supervisor supported her, which meant that we felt like we were supported. She advocated for us. It was something that, I really felt like um, we were a well-oiled machine, a good team, and supported, encouraged to do what we thought was best. And so, that's like you said, it's the opposite of, okay, well, if I do this, what are people going to think? Or why aren't they contacting me? Why is there silence here? Rather than, oh, the silence because it's peaceful. No, there's silence because, something's going on and nobody's saying anything, right? What did I
The
do? Then
plotting.
if you have to start thinking about, what did I do? What did I do to cause this, right? That's a challenge. And it's really hard because that's where your brain wants to go, right? Your brain wants to start with something's wrong, right? I mean, the first place you take in information is your limbic system, right? So that's, dedicated to two basic ideas, right? Safety and danger, right? And so if you're in a place where you can walk in and everything's familiar and people are welcoming and supporting, right? You are in a safe place. But then if you're walking into a place that's unfamiliar, or you don't really hear people communicating too much or even in a positive way, and if you are only communicating with your leader when, something's wrong, or things are hidden from you, or expectations aren't set clearly, that's uncomfortable, that's unfamiliar, and that's danger in our minds. And so our brain starts preparing for the worst, right? I mean, it's bad enough the minute you say, hey Tiff, can you come in my office for me? All right, can you come in my office for a minute? Our first thought is, oh, what did I do? Right. But that's what our brain does. When there's a gap in knowledge, it fills it in with the worst case scenario, because it has to fill it in. So we make it up. Right. But if we're in a safe place, okay, my boss needs to see me. I don't think there's anything wrong. And she asks me in there all the time. Right. So the rational part of our brain can counteract that. But if we don't have that basis of safety, that, okay, this happens, stop tripping, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go in there defensive. We're not going to hear people with the same approach, right? And that can lead to contentious conversations. It can lead us to reading people wrong. It can lead other people to reading us wrong. And then that can create challenges that go far beyond just a, hey, I wanted to talk to you about this customer.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. My life mission, I'm sure you're aware. I'm just trying to live my best life, right? That's literally that's it. Like I want space for joy. I don't want to make time for the things that bring me down. This is not to say that things in life don't happen, but I don't want to dwell on negativity. I'm really trying to like wake up every day and choosing joy and choosing happiness and choosing like fulfillment and feeling good about like what direction my life is heading. And luckily for me, I have the luxury of some flexibility in my life, in my work, and um, I can really do that. And it's not always super easy because I can control my thoughts and my ideas and my perspective and those stories that my brain is telling. I can check in and self-reflect and be like, oh, is that really true? Like, did I do something wrong? Am I really about to get scolded? Or is it about that customer the other day? I can check in with my own stories. I don't have to believe everything I think. But that's much easier to do when you're in an environment where people are not choosing violence, and not just like physical violence, but I'm like psychological violence and emotional violence and the unhealthy behaviors that tend to dominate a lot of government based work where it's very competitive and it's very almost primal when it comes to like positions and status and who's going to get promoted. It's very much um, like deficit based in the sense that we don't talk so much about the good stuff or create the environment around what people are doing well. It's really about like, what did you do wrong? What do you need to do better? How do you improve? But we're not doing it in a way that it's safe for people, right? So now you might be giving me really good feedback. You might be telling me something I really need to hear, but if I don't trust or I don't feel safe with you sharing that with me, then it's probably going to go nowhere. I'm going to go to that one person in the workplace that I get along with. I'm going to go to that one person that's going to offer me some psychological safety, and I'm going to plot your demise. And then I become an unsafe person.
And then we're in the triangle.
And then we're in the triangle.
Yep.
We're in the capital triangle. We're there,
Yeah.
and it's not healthy. It's absolutely not healthy. It's not healthy short term. It's definitely not healthy long term. But we perpetually stay in that cycle. There are very few workplaces that I have heard of, and I talk to people all the days. That's, the nature of the work is we talk to people in all kinds of different environments. There are very few people who feel psychologically safe in the workplace. Very few. And that's sad to me. That's sad. It doesn't have to be that way. I
And
can say I'm guilty. I'm guilty of being the unsafe place for people. I've learned from it. I've learned from it. But what I am saying is that, you know, it's almost a skill set to know how to navigate what other people need. And it's a very, I think, giving place, right? Because sometimes when you are creating psychological safety for others, it means that you have to get out of your comfort zone and change the way that you approach things. But it's something that you can learn and develop. And when you create, like, again, I can't control what other people think or do. I have zero control over that. I can influence it. I can, share skill sets. I can share mindsets. I can do all of that, share resources. But if I can't control what other people do, the only thing I can do is control how I choose to respond to it. And so if I'm in a place that's psychologically unsafe, I can either contribute to that unsafeness and make it again a hostile environment, which to me, that's what an unsafe place is. It's hostile because you can't relax, you can't be comfortable. It's hostile. You're always on edge. That has impacts on your mental health, that has impact on your body, on your sleep, like so many different things. So if I can't again control the environment, I can control my response to it. And that in turn could create psychological safety for other people. That's the only control that I have. So if you're being unsafe, then I have to be willing to kind of lean into that discomfort and find a solution for that. And that's not always an easy thing, especially again going back to trust. If I don't trust people, and a lack of trust is almost always psychologically unsafe.
yeah, absolutely. It goes back to the other pyramid, right?
Right.
That's Yoni. If you don't have trust, if you don't feel psychologically safe, you cannot have conflicts that are, meaningful and helpful, right? The conflicts are vindictive and punitive, right? And
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
it's hard to commit to folks that you don't feel have your best interest in mind. And that's what's, to me, that's what psychological safety is. I have your
Yep.
best interest in mind. We may not be the best friends, but you're somebody who's getting work done as much as I am, and I trust you, right? And so it really is, trust is such an important piece. And then just also, I mean, like you mentioned, that in cultures that maybe we've worked in, and just in government cultures, hierarchical cultures, right? Just, with that idea of breaking chain of command, and who's been there the longest and things like that. It's definitely a challenge, especially with our generation. I mean, our generation is kind of a tweener, right? But I know a lot of folks in my generation were taught just to deal with it, grin and bear
Mhm.
it, suck it up, right? You got to go to work, got to make money, so you got to figure it out, right? Which is true, absolutely, right? But it doesn't mean that it's optimal. How do we make our workplaces optimal rather than a place that we have to go to? How do we make them somewhere that we want to go to? Right? That the job I was telling you that I was mentioning is the first job I ever wanted, not just to be on time, so I didn't get in trouble, but to be early for. I
Mhm.
was there early because I knew, if there was something I wanted to talk to one of my coworkers about, it was hard to do it during the day because we were all so busy and we were all interacting with customers on a regular basis. And I'd have to wait till break or lunch or whatever it is. If I could talk to them in the morning, that'd be a great place, right? So I would actually get to work early, right? And I mean, that's something I really think about when people are just getting there just on time so they don't get in trouble or kind of dragging on the way in, right? Or, maybe they're a few minutes late, nobody says anything to them, right? And which breeds that for the rest of the team, right? It just like we've said, culture is something that you create, right? Some by what you do, and culture is also something you create by what you don't do, right? It's going to
Mhm.
happen whether you like it or not. And so, you know, um, our generation was that, suck it up and I saw my dad told me, well, you just have to work twice as hard as the next person. That's what my dad taught me. And so you have to do that, and that's what your daughter has to do. And I'm like, yeah, dad, but your dad grew up in Louisiana, right? As a black man in Louisiana in the 20s and 30s, and before he came out to San Francisco and or Arkansas, Louisiana and Arkansas. And so these were places where you had to grin and bear it. You had to suck it up, or there could be real world physical and existential repercussions, not just losing your job, losing your life, losing your
Right.
property, right? And things like that. And that has happened. That happened to people in my family, like my grandpa, right? And so, he wasn't allowed in the town he grew up in, right? And so my dad tells stories about that, right? So just, you know, those those thoughts come from pretty harsh times, right? When people just had to deal with it, when there wasn't these thoughts about how do we really help people feel like they're in the right place rather than, you just got to do what you got to do and get your 30 years and then get your retirement and so you're set. I mean, if I'm working towards retirement, I mean, what type of job is that? Right.
Right.
I'm working towards making an impact until I retire. That's one of the great things I like about what we do, Tiff. I mean, I tell people all the time, I we don't have a big retirement plan. Right? I mean, there barely is one, right? But I can tell you that I'll probably be teaching and doing what I'm doing until they roll me out of that place.
Mhm.
Wherever it is, if either I'm going to die in bed or I'm going to die in a classroom, right? Or
Right.
or in a conference room. That's probably what's going to happen. Just so you all know, I'm perfectly healthy. I'm fine. Everything is under control. You don't have to worry about that right now. But it's something that when we think about the younger generation who advocates for themselves, right?
Right.
Neuroscience has come a long way in the last 30 years, right? So who's been affected by it? Millennials and Gen Z, this next generation that's coming in, they want that idea of a safe environment as the place where they can advocate for themselves and not just be shut down, especially if it's something that they're advocating for themselves for a valid reason, right? And we were taught, don't advocate for yourself because they might, retaliation, anti-retaliation, sure. Yeah. I know how people can retaliate without retaliating, right? I had a boss one time tell me, so I won't fire you, I'll just make you quit, right? I can, bring your schedule down to the point where you won't want to be here anymore, or I'll make you do jobs that you don't want to do, right? And so those are things that, it's important for these days, folks don't want to deal with that. If they have to deal with that, they'll go somewhere else. There's many other options and many other opportunities to make money in ways that we didn't have growing up. We did not have, I mean, I don't know about you. I got my first computer my freshman year in college. right? And it was blue and white, you're right, typing. And I played the first Madden game and it was X's and O's. They moved
Mhm.
like this, right? So, that's, I mean, folks these days, you know how it is. You can log on and search and do things that work from home and find opportunities. And if you're much too much enough of a personality, you can be an influencer and you can,
Right.
make money on the gram or, podcasts or whatever else it is.
This concludes part one of our episode. Stay tuned for part two, coming Tuesday to all major podcast